To start breaking the taboo around it, to start talking about this issue.
That, I think, pretty much sums it up. We just need to talk about it.
Yeah. We need to hear, in many ways, we need to hear the stories. We need to hear the predicaments.
Obviously, the more we talk about crisis pregnancy, the better. Because it's a reality for Irish women, it's a reality for women all over the world.
It's when abortion has not been some sort of abstract, legalistic issue that's debated in the abstract by, by doctors, by lawyers, by journalists. But when people can concretely identify with a woman, as in the X case or the C case, there was huge outpouring of sympathy for that woman. So I think that when that people do sympathise with women and their decision, and even people who are not pro-choice, I think express sympathy with her.
That's important to identify as someone who is non-judgmental on this issue and will be supportive.
You could be having a conversation with some friends of yours and you might find out that they have had an abortion and they now know that you're there from them and that you will support them, and they don't. You're one less person that they have to keep this secret from.
I think something that struck me was a comment that a politician made on a television show recently. She said that it's not an issue that's raised on the doorsteps, but it is an issue that affects so many women have had abortions. You know somebody who's had an abortion.
The fact is that once the secrets are revealed, although there may well be initial, I think with anybody who reveals a secret that's traumatic and that undermines those in power, there will always be that backlash of disbelief, of trying to discredit the people or the person who's telling the secret. That's almost to be expected, and you have to ride that one out. But eventually, if the momentum is built, then it's impossible to drown out the secret that's being told.
I could say that the government's way of dealing with this is keeping their head in the sand, but maybe that's actually what I do quite a lot of the time as well, when I'm with maybe relations of mine or friends from school or something that I know aren't without doubt pro-choice because we've never spoken about it.
I think the idea behind being pro-choice is having a respect for whatever decision anyone makes. So when you're pro-choice, you're going to have a lot of respect for people who decide to continue with the pregnancy, and you're going to have respect for people who don't. I think the same respect isn't there on the other side. So you do end up sometimes feeling very pressured into changing your views.
We have to acknowledge and respect that people have, emotional concerns about this, and we have to deal with that and respect that. And it's only in that, in that sense of respect that we can actually hear each other in the debate. Because what we don't do is we do not hear ourselves in a debate. In fact, we don't have a debate in Ireland. And one of the reasons that we don't have a debate is because we don't deal with the doubts that people have. And we need to air those doubts.
I think it probably is going to take a cultural shift. I think maybe it can start with brave individual women.
I remember saying to my mum, I'm going to vote against it. I said, sure, if they want, they can have an abortion in England. And my mother said, well, actually, she said, that's just brushing the problem under the carpet, So I changed my opinion based on what she had said to me. So that was kind of an interesting, she made me think about it. But that was my mother,
When women started to say things like, it's not necessarily something I would choose, but I don't believe I have the right to stop another woman. That's all you need. That is all you need. And there's no point in trying to push that any further. Why would I have to respect that opinion? But when you get women to that point saying they don't believe that any woman should be forced to make choices or to have a lack of choices.
And I think we should be thinking about those women when we go and we vote in the ballots. Like, that's who we should be thinking about, is other women. I mean, maybe it doesn't affect you personally, but you should think, what if it did? And we should really think about the other women involved in these situations.
If they could just think like, well, actually, what could we do now so that the next time that happens, it'll happen under different circumstances and the person won't have to travel. So that's kind of the connection that we need to make, and it's the jump that we need to make for people to realise that there is something that can be done in the country to improve the situation for women. We can have women, we can trust them and we can allow them to make their own choice, and we don't have to be standing around afterwards and feeling sorry for these women and the terrible trauma that they've gone through if we know that we're doing the best that we can.
Even if it's never you, that the option is there for every woman who comes after us. It's time for that absolute terror to stop. It's time that women who find themselves in a crisis pregnancy They have choices, they have support, and the only way that's going to happen is if we all shout loudly and together.
We need to stop the silence and end the stigma.
We should trust women with their decisions on abortion.
Trust women with their decisions about abortion.
And we should just trust women 100%.
Trust women to make their own decisions about abortion.
Trust women with their decisions about abortion.
Trust women with their own decisions on abortion.
Trust women with their decisions about abortion.
Trust women with their decisions about abortion.
Trust women on their decisions about abortion.